and let us all do we can to build a better future.
We here at Hard Lens Media believe in free speech. We here at Hard Lens Media believe that everyone should have a voice. Now, we're not all going to agree and like each other or come to the same conclusions, but, because how boring of a world that would be. Everyone just smiles and agrees and nods. But free speech is fundamentally important for our republic, for our media, for the average citizen, because we have a right to share our opinions, and the First Amendment is very important. But now it stands at a dangerous crossroad where we have universities and pundits and individuals saying that perhaps freedom of speech, well, needs to be looked into more. Or perhaps we need to put some oversight onto free speech. Why am I saying this? Because this article caught my attention. And in the long, sad history of what could possibly go wrong, this is another thing to add into the chapter of the long, sad history of what could possibly go wrong. Say it with me, folks, as soon as you see this headline. U.S. universities launch partnership to elevate free speech to counter threats to democracy. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, already the title, it looks safe. It looks inviting. It looks reasonable. But that's the first red flag right there. And of course, it's in a business article too from the Associated Press. Don't worry. And of course, everyone's top priority is Trump indictment live. He's going to be fine, folks. He's going to be fine. And even if he is held accountable, guess what? His supporters still won't go away. They love him. So there. The presidents of a wide-ranging group of 13 universities are elevating free speech on their campuses this academic year as part of a new nonprofit initiative announced Tuesday to combat what organizers call dire threats to U.S. democracy. You got some oil? Looks like you used some freedom there, baby. The campus call for free expression. Again, I don't know, free expression. Some ain't right. Will take different forms on different campuses. The campaign, created by the Institute for Citizens and Scholars with funding from the Knight Foundation, is designed to cultivate the freedom of expression on campuses and help students work together to find solutions to complicated, divisive problems. Well, listen, what they're teaching in a lot of universities is to not to critically think, and also, more importantly, hey, you get stuck with student debt. But also, hey, to quote AOC, deplatforming works. The national context of a deep political polarization and the inability of people to speak across difference in constructive and civil ways, it seems to me that colleges and universities need to be the institutions at the forefront of showing a better way to do it. Oh, no. No. The Institute for Citizens and Scholars first convened a group of college presidents in March of 2022 to discuss how to prepare students to actively participate in democracy. Oh, you poor, beautiful people. You gorgeous morons. Oh, I love all of you. How to participate in democracy. It is shut up and vote for one of your teams, Team Red or Team Blue. Shut up and follow orders. How can we participate in democracy when we don't have a choice at all? Oh my goodness. They're training people to be morons. Eventually, the president of the schools committed to 5 principles of free expression, along with new on-campus programs that each school designed themselves. Those include new training at freshman orientations, faculty seminars, and convection remarks. Oh my goodness gracious Cretaceous. What could possibly go wrong? Well, not new controversies around free speech at universities abound, from students protesting invited speakers to state legislators targeting faculty tenure, and also reflect an increase in restrictions on freedom of speech more generally. The participating schools include the University of Notre Dame, the private Catholic research school, Benedict College, the historically black school in South Carolina, Rollins College, and small liberal arts school in Florida, and Ivy League member, Cornell University, which in April announced that freedom of expression would be the theme of its 2023 school year. Oh, no. Now, why do you think they're doing all of this? Why do you think they're doing this? It is to regulate what people are saying online and on social media, to be the nerd poking their glasses up and saying, well, actually, if you type this, you're wrong. And if you keep on saying things, I'll make sure you get deplatformed. Now, why do you think they're doing all this? Why? Why do you think they're doing this? Well, the answer is simple. Because they're going after somebody. You know him. You love him. Donald Trump. This is from The Guardian. Trump's free speech defense in January 6th case is a danger to democracy, experts say. Well, look. Apparently, Trump using his free speech defense is a danger to democracy. According to the experts. Okay. Donald Trump's dubious defense that he was exercising his free speech rights in response to a 4-count federal criminal indictment charging him with pushing illegal schemes to overturn his 2020 election loss is prompting ex-Department of Justice officials and scholars to criticize such claims as bogus and as threats to the rule of law. Never forget that Hunter Biden laptop where, quote-unquote, 50 experts signed a letter saying that was fake, and CNN and BSDNC were running with that. And then it turned out that the Hunter Biden laptop story was real. Despite special counsel Jack Smith's detailed 45-page 4-count indictment of Trump for prompting several illegal schemes, including organizing slates of fake electors in 7 states to thwart Joe Biden's victory, Trump and some top Republican allies have really portrayed his multi-pronged drive to stay in power as a free speech matter. But former Justice Department officials, scholars, and ex-Republican House members say Trump's actions and schemes went far beyond free speech and that Trump and his allies are weakening the justice system and could breed new conspiracy theories by making a First Amendment defense. Critics say Trump's allies embracing his free speech claims seem to be trying to cover themselves with the party's base and rationalize sticking with Trump despite the indictment's sizable body of damning evidence revealing Trump's active role in unprecedented and illegal ploys to overturn the 2020 election result. Oh my goodness. So, in other words, it's to go after Trump and free speech. But look, this opens up a Pandora's box of some very dangerous scenarios. Because no matter what happens, we have our institutions actively trying to silence and suppress free thought. We see it being played out on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. I mean, Hard Lens Media, we are world heavyweight champions in regards to being censored and silenced. Happened to us not once, but 8 times. 8 times. Now, we've been able to recover because of all of you, our lovely viewing audience members, and our allies in independent media. But this is a serious danger. A devastating danger. Because, yes, it is easy for people to get triggered and go after Trump. And yes, it's real easy to get comfortable with universities saying that they want to develop special programs about free speech. But see, the thing is, it's all kind of being controlled because as soon as you go outside the narrative, you're still vilified. Well, how can you be vilified? Well, I want to bring up this video here from a good friend of the show, Stabby Sabs, where she interviewed Matt Taibbi. Thank you, Turncoat Don, for sharing this video. Because Matt and Sabrina discuss how defending free speech nowadays gets you branded as, you guessed it, right-winger. You share your thought, you're a right-winger. You believe in free speech, you're a right-winger. You're calling out the neoliberal system, you are a right-winger. Don't believe me? Let's hear about Matt's firsthand account of what happens when you share your free thoughts.
Now it's like if you come out against censorship, whether it was you, whether it was Elon Musk, whether it's RFK Jr., now you're considered to be a right wing. Where do you think that came from?
It's such a weird thing culturally, isn't it? Because, I grew up, that was the defining issue I always felt for somebody who was on the political left. Every one of the sort of famous political legends of liberalism had in some way to do with this issue, whether it was the ACLU defending Skokie, the Nazis in Skokie, whether the People versus Larry Flint, right? The Hustler magazine story, fighting against restrictions against NWA, the Parents Music Resource Center case, the Maplethorpe case. This is one controversy after another, and it was automatic that people on the left were in favor of free expression, understood the importance of it, understood why also. I mean, this is something that I think has been lost. The Skokie case, the Nazi case, the reasoning for that was so obvious, and they articulated it over and over again. They said that if we don't step in to allow these folks to march in Skokie, Illinois, the thing that will happen the next day is that every small southern town in America is going to disallow NAACP marches. The civil rights movement will not be allowed to go forward once small governments are allowed to control speech. And I thought that was sort of irrefutable logic. Now it's just not part of the way people think on the political left. I think they think that deplatforming works, and that people like Donald Trump are such a threat that we have to use these tools. But the problem is the tools don't work, and more than that, it's just impossible to arbitrate what's true and what's false with accuracy, and that's the real big problem.
Yeah, apparently everyone's right winger. But see, again, there is a danger as we shift towards authoritarianism, because again, listen to words of Matt Taibbi as he's being interviewed by the wonderful, incredible Sabrina. If you haven't subscribed to her YouTube channel, please do so. But look, it's all interconnected, and these people in power, these pundits, these politicians, they know what they're doing, and they're malicious in it.
Did you think it was a coincidence or a strange coincidence, considering like after that interview, Stacey Plaskett, issued that statement where she basically wanted to try to get you for perjury? It almost kind of felt like the media and at least the committee members, it's almost like they were in on this together to try to like take you down.
Well, yeah, there was a straight line you could draw from Mehdi in tweeting to AOC retweeting Mehdi to, Stacey Plaskett basically repeating the sentiments of AOC. And, when I heard about the letter, it's really funny. I didn't even get the letter. That's one of the odder little twists of the whole situation, is that they were threatening me with jail, but I had to wait for Li Fong to obtain the document somehow. But at that point, I tweeted to Mehdi and I said, hey, come on now, like, all jokes aside, you've made a mistake with this thing. Yes, I did have a typo, but we're not going to push this to the point where I'm going to be prosecuted and put in jail. I got kids, come on. And he didn't say anything.
Yeah. Mehdi Hassan. And he knew what he was doing, as do all these other politicians and delegates. They knew what they were doing. If you're not concerned, you should be.
Which I thought was kind of telling. I mean, it tells you how serious these folks are. They really mean it. They're not just, it's not performative, this whole thing, which I think is an important aspect to a lot of what's going on with this sort of drift towards authoritarianism. It's not for show. They mean it. They really want to push the envelope of what it means to have power and to threaten people. And, this is an example of that.
So how do we really talk about free speech? Because in this day and age, you have people who are just so on board for cancel, 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 silence, 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 censor, censor, censor. And it solves nothing. It truly doesn't. I want to play a video that I played, I believe, maybe a few months ago, maybe in April. I want everyone to listen to these words from an individual who's giving his perspective of free speech. I believe in free speech. Yes, I do. And I know that there are bad people out there who will abuse it, but I like to believe in an idealistic world, that the world is filled with good people who will stand up against vile individuals. But everyone has a voice, and it's important for us to maintain this First Amendment right. I know we're not all going to agree with each other. I know I have a very diverse audience, and I am so grateful I have a diverse audience. There are some things I say on this show that a lot of you agree with. Some of you don't agree with it. But I'd rather be in a room with individuals that will make me think critically or see something from a different perspective than to be in a world of people who just are afraid to speak out. So I want to end this segment with the words of Jerry Springer. He is missed, and may he rest in peace. But please listen to his words.
Another point of view. Tonight, Jerry Springer.
Thanks, Allison. Back when I was the mayor of Cincinnati, the neo-Nazis, knowing I was Jewish, figuring this would be a good test, applied for a parade permit. They wanted to march through our downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Well, I didn't know what to do. You see, much of my family was exterminated in the concentration camps of Germany during World War II. And I didn't think, in respect to my parents, who were survivors of it all, that I could go along with the permit. And yet I knew my constitutional obligation as mayor. So what was I to do? I called my folks. I would respect their wishes. I didn't tell them, but I'd already decided if they didn't want me to let the Nazis march, I would resign and let the next mayor approve the permit. But my dad reminded me that this is America, that this is the freedom we sought when we escaped to here. So we must never be a party to silencing any person or any point of view, no matter how despicable. If what is being said is nonsense or mean or spiteful or dangerous, or if the person uttering it is unworthy, let the words and ideas fall of their own merit in the free marketplace of ideas, not because they were silenced or denied a platform. My parents lost their parents and brothers and cousins to Hitler, and yet they still said, sign the permit, let them march. Last week, the general manager here announced that I'd agreed to his request to do commentaries from time to time on NBC5 News. I'd been doing commentaries for over 20 years and won 7 Emmys for them, so whether I was qualified to do them didn't seem to be in question. It was a reasonable request, and so I said yes. But one of the anchors said she was deeply offended, that I wasn't up to her standards, that because of the admittedly wild and crazy talk show I do, I would taint everyone who worked here, that I was the poster child for the great unwashed of our society. This elitist snobbery that only people who meet an anchor's approval should be permitted to share the set is now being hidden in the self-righteous cries of journalistic integrity. Bull, and you can fill in the rest of that word. Please understand, we have no journalism in a free society unless we have commentary from all parts of the community, from the poor, the disenfranchised, the left, the right, the outrageous, and yes, the different, not just from the endless array of Walter Cronkite wannabes that populate every news program in America so that virtually every news program looks alike. Look, I am sorry the anchor quit. I'm sorry she found it necessary this week to use me as a stepping stone to martyrdom. But as much as I detest the elitist snobbery on this issue, I would never, ever suggest that she doesn't have a place on our airwaves. She does. But here in America, the rest of us do too. I wish she could have met my dad.
There's nothing more to add to that. The words of Jerry Springer, you're missed, buddy. Hope you're having a good show up there, wherever you're at. Free speech now, free speech forever. Nothing more to be said.